What's up, everyone? I'm in the middle of my workday, and I had a break between meetings, so I figured it's time to pick some raspberries. Look at what's going on here. Pretty good stuff. So I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to try to answer your questions on Instagram while picking raspberries. This is the ultimate in multitasking. I'm also, of course, getting some vitamin D, which is pretty cool. Hey, there's Terry Cochrane. Hey, good to see you, Terry. Seattle neurofeedback. 40 others joined. Thanks, guys. I got to tell you, today I've been intermittent fasting all day. I'm breaking my fast with this overripe raspberry. And now I feel like I had some carbs, so I should go self-flagellate, right? Oh, wait, dirty keto is a bad idea? You mean your body benefits from having some carbs? It actually does. But a few berries aren't going to hurt anything, and you actually technically aren't really even breaking most kinds of fasting if you were to eat a few berries like I'm doing. These things are so good. Look, I've got 3 of them. I'm pretty good at this. All right, questions. What's up with metformin being recalled? I heard there was some issues with one of the metformin manufacturers. It's just a manufacturing thing. It's good that they actually had the temerity to recall when there was a problem. Sometimes they don't do that stuff. All right. Let's see. Question of Bulletproof coffee beans better in French press versus drip. There's 2 answers to that. One of them is, what do you like? Like there's a flavor thing and then there's a biochemistry thing. So what are we talking about? Let's talk about the flavor thing first. You get a bolder flavor anytime you're doing something like that, which is really cool. By the way, look at that. Is that like the best looking berry? I'm pretty excited about these berries. They're amazing. So from a biochemistry perspective, or from flavor perspective, I think French press tastes better. It's also more work to clean up because you got to wash out the French press, which is annoying. But when you use a drip, you're usually using a paper filter. And that's really what your question is. Metal filter versus paper filter. And there's also a temperature thing going on. If you use a typical drip coffee maker, the water is 175 degrees. If you use French press, the water is about boiling around 200 degrees. You get better coffee from the temperature. But you can buy a nice coffee maker that's SCAA, Specialty Coffee Association of America approved. That'll get you the right exact water temperature. If you use a paper filter, though, it pulls out 2 compounds in coffee called cafestrol and cowahol. And those compounds actually can increase some liver enzymes, but they decrease inflammation in the brain, according to multiple studies that I published in the Bulletproof diet and on my blog and things like that. So there's a group of people who say, well, your cholesterol might go up if you have metal filtered coffee. And if your cholesterol goes up, but your oxidized cholesterol and your arterial damage don't go up, and your brain inflammation goes down, I think those are good for you. So short answer, French press. That's what I do, or I use a metal filter and a pour over, which is really good. By the way, I'm succeeding in my multitasking. I'm picking these amazing berries. My vitamin D levels are getting a little bit better, and I have not yet dropped the camera to show you that I'm actually not wearing pants. I'm wearing shorts. All right, next up, questions. 30-second opinion on Ritalin. Ritalin should pretty much be a last-ditch drug if there's no other choice. I believe modafinil, lifestyle changes, sleep, circadian biology, and basically just getting your mitochondria working, as well as neurofeedback, are much better options before we just go straight to the hard stuff. Thanks, Clever Mobile Therapies. I appreciate the looking good thing. It's amazing what a little bit of sun will do. It's been a very weird, across Europe and Canada, a very weird June and July. It's felt more like February. So finally, just the garden's exploding. It's been waiting, like me, for proper sunshine because we are also like plants. Raphael, just drank some brain octane oil. Me too. How much protein do you need in a day? This is actually a pretty tough question because if the kind of protein we're talking about is my favorite plant-based protein, ricin, the nerve gas from the Tokyo subway attacks, the answer would be 0. So I guess we can't do plant-based protein. And if we're talking about how much animal-based protein, spider venom's an animal-based protein. Wait, you mean, does it matter what kind of protein we're talking about? It actually does. And that's why a lot of the debate around plant-based versus not plant-based, it's actually not really very scientific. What I will tell you is that if you're talking about gluten, the answer is none. If you're talking about collagen, the answer is more. But generally 0.6 grams per kilo of body weight. This is coming from my anti-aging research in Superhuman. And if you're exercising, you're over 60, you want to up it a little bit. And it's not really per pound of body weight, it's per pound of lean body mass. So if you're like me and used to weigh 300 pounds, you got to subtract the 100 pounds of fat before you figure out how much protein you should have. Too much protein is a problem most of us have. It's inflammatory, whether it comes from plants or animals. Too little protein is also an issue. And I'm looking away from the camera if you're just joining, because I'm picking raspberries from these amazing bushes. Look at that. Just during this conversation, I should have enough to freeze if I actually allow them to survive that long. I might just actually eat them all later for dinner. All right. Is biohacking an attempt to stave off life's more difficult existential questions? Let me meditate on that, my son. Okay. It's actually not trying to stave off life's more difficult existential questions. Remember, this came about from a search on exactly those things. Why did I go to Tibet and study meditation with the masters before I created biohacking? Why did I go to South America and do ayahuasca when they actually didn't want to do it with me? They're like, Dave, you're white. This isn't for white people. It's for local people. And I actually had to ask for help to even find someone who's willing to do it. You go down now to Peru and they'll try and give it to you at the airport. People aren't even trained as proper shamans. So I have been on that quest for difficult existential questions. But if you want to solve questions, you know what works better than anything? Having a brain that works. So if your hardware is broken, you're not going to work on your software, your emotional stuff, and you're certainly not going to get to the spiritual side of things. And that's why biohacking matters even more now when people are all stressed, because you got to get your brain working to do the deep personal work that's actually at the core of biohacking. San Ospina, what do I think about a juice detox for 21 days? I don't think those words actually can go together. Juice isn't detoxing. Animal products have fewer toxins than plant-based products, especially like those green juices. I'm the guy who went on Joe Rogan, 4 or 5 years ago and said, Joe, this kale smoothie thing you're talking about, it's actually bad for you. There's too much oxalic acid. And so I warned him and his followers about it. And just a couple weeks ago, he was like, I had to lay off the kale smoothies. I was having a problem with oxalic acid. I'm like, dude, you should have listened. So that's one of those things where I don't think that if it's a fruit juice, it's a sugar thing. That's not detoxing. And if it's other plant juice, there's a benefits to having these plant juices, but not as a sole thing you do. So it also depends very much on what you're doing. Carrot juice, higher in sugar, higher in vitamins, lower in toxins. So you just want to be very intelligent about the type of juice, how clean it is, and whether you want to do just juice for 21 days. I would rather do a 10-day water fast or a coffee fast. You'll probably get more results. Christy, how often do I get ozone 10 passed per year? All right, if you guys don't know about ozone therapy, you have to know about how important this is. Listen to the 3 episodes on Bulletproof Radio, 2 with Robert Rowan, 1 with Frank Schallenberger. Ozone therapy fixed my toxic mold. It fixes most people's toxic mold and chronic fatigue syndrome. And the problem that we're dealing with here, even with things like viruses, is that if you talk about specifically the fact that, Ebola has been cured with ozone therapy by Robert Rowan in multiple people, and you talk about that stuff on something that's easier to censor, like a written post, just by saying what I just said, this may or may not be censored by Instagram. So if you want to get like the real thoughts I have on that stuff, go to ig-dave-asprey.com/uncensored, and then I can email you what I think. Because right now, no one's censoring email the way they're censoring a huge amount of stuff on social media. And the censorship sometimes is just a blocked screen, but it's usually, they just take you out of the rotation. So no one sees when you talk about the stuff that actually works. But ozone's really important. I recommend doing a 10 pass at least 4 times a year, or rectal ozone on a regular basis. And I did a video, it's on my feed a while back. You can just look for the hashtag reverse fart because it was funny. But yeah, I do rectal ozone on a regular basis. It's one of the best ways to make your mitochondria stronger, other than these raspberries, because these things are epic. All right. Let's see. Thoughts on my friend Mark Hyman's controversial advice in coronavirus, suggesting vaccines, masks, and social distancing. You thought he was one of us. This is from C. Champagne. All right. First off, take a breath. One of us. So you've just said you're in a tribe where only people can be in the tribe if they agree with you on everything. If you take that mindset, you will automatically remove yourself from conscious thought and you become reactive and you become tribal. You got to stop that. So here's the deal. Mark is a dear friend, an amazing human being who's done stuff he's never even talked about. Who do you think was the first guy to touch ground in Haiti after the earthquake with a jet plane full of medical supplies? It was Mark Hyman. And he never tells you that kind of stuff. He is a humanitarian and great human being. So you disagree with some advice here, so now he's not one of us? Like, what is this, like 7th grade? Like, you're not one of the cool kids anymore. Dude, Mark can have his opinions. I'm going to agree with a lot of his opinions. Some of them I might not. I don't even know what he said about vaccines and all this stuff. I also had a conversation on Instagram Live with one of the leading guys who talks about vaccines and heavy metals, Dr. Klinghardt. And in that conversation, you know what Dr. Klinghardt said? He said, hey, maybe one day we'll have safe vaccines. I support that idea. I've had people come on the show talking about, hey, safe vaccines. Does that mean I'm not one of us? I think I'm one of us. I'm just not dogmatic about it. So I'd like to look at the effectiveness, the risk reward for each human being and each modality. And I don't really care if it's a vaccine or, cutting off your arm to lose 10 pounds. Like, do what works for you, right? But for you, because the same thing doesn't work for everyone. So just don't be tribal in our health stuff. And it's okay. And then if you respectfully disagree with someone, you can say, why? And if you do it with an arrogance or an exclusionary kind of thing where it's no longer about curiosity, but it's about being right, you're probably lost. Joe F. Dandon, can you be vegan and healthy? Yeah, for a month. Totally works. Great way to do a detox. All of you right now. It's okay to be vegan for a month. I was a raw vegan for a while. And you know what happens? You fall into the vegan trap, which is exactly the same as the keto trap. I did it for a little while. I felt so amazing. I'm only going to do it again forever. And what that always leads to is disaster. The body likes cycling. When you're vegan, you don't get enough of the right kinds of fats. It changes your cell membranes. It takes 2 years to change out half your cell membranes. That's the half-life of fat in the body. So, by the way, look at all those berries. So, if we're doing that, we're saying, well, it's going to take a while for the vegan diet to at first make you feel really good because it upregulates your thyroid function as your body panics when your cell membrane integrity goes down. Yikes. So, as a devout raw vegan who could whip up a mean soaked cashew, avocado, sort of kind of tastes like dessert sort of thing, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. If you're young, you're under 25, you're like, yeah, I got this. Show me a lot of people who've been vegan for 20 years. You can see it in their eyes. I'm sorry. I want a vegan diet to work, except, oh wait, if you're a vegan, you're also declaring war on the soil because I am picking, okay, this is a garden that produces food for our community. We actually sell this stuff in local stores. There's pigs, there's sheep. You guys saw me rescue a sheep that was caught in the fence the other day on my feed. So if you are vegan, you are removing those animals from the ecosystem. They will no longer exist, and then our soil will fail because your kale eats animal poop. And treating the animals ethically is important. Don't ever eat industrial meat again. That's bad for you. But can you be vegan and healthy? No. You'll destroy the soil on the planet eventually, and you'll destroy your health before that. And I was vegan. It made me sick. There are thousands of people on the Bulletproof diet recovering from vegan-induced plant toxins, lack of cell membrane integrity, thyroid problems, autoimmune problems. All these happen to me. So with just loving care, responsibility, no, I'm sorry it doesn't work. I wish it did. I wish gravel worked, but raspberries are vegan and they're good. By the way, look at that. How's it that I'm getting a tan? I'm earthing. I get to talk to you guys. I have my sunscreen on in the form of, SPF 5000. Look at those berries. And I've almost got a bowl full. And I have a call with my head of operations in another 2 minutes. All right. A couple more questions here. Lucy Gum doesn't deliver to Canada. It's amazing how much regulation there is around alcohol and tobacco. It's almost like governments want to tax it or something. It's super weird, even though there's no tobacco in Lucy Gum. Lucy Gum is my favorite low toxin nicotine gum. Low doses of nicotine are anti-aging, and I published the research on Bulletproof Radio and in Superhuman, my last book. All right. What do I do for fun on Vancouver Island? I pick berries and answer questions from friends on Instagram. I also have 2 kids. I do Tai Chi with my son in the morning. We're 3D printing some stuff. We have a virtual reality set up. Oh my God, is that screen time? Yeah, it is. Just don't do it before bed. And mountain biking. Just got new mountain bikes for the whole family. It's pretty good. Digestive enzyme supplements from Shah. Should everyone take them? It depends on how much time, energy, money you have, and what you're eating, and how good your health is. So I would say no, everyone shouldn't take them, because if it's a matter of getting good quality butter or good quality beef, don't do it. Or maybe you just need betaine, but you don't need the other stuff in there. But I do think that there's really a good idea of long-term digestive enzymes. Sorry, my photography is terrible here, but look at that. It was worth it for that whole handful of berries I'm picking with you guys. Okay. Joe Haramore. How did I raise my IQ, and what choice of studies line up best with gaining the expertise you've gained? Ooh, I love this question. So in Game Changers, I wrote about the technology I use. One of the many is called dual end-back training. It's the most frustrating, annoying, like you feel like a failure sort of thing you've ever heard of. It's just not even nice. But you do this for 20 days and it can double your working memory, which is a really nice upgrade that usually is about 10 IQ points on a standardized test. And it sticks. It's pretty cool. I created something called 40 Years of Zen. It's a neuroscience institute. We've got custom hardware and custom software that we developed in-house for increasing intelligence, for putting you in the state you would get from decades of meditation. And that has been a real game changer for me. See what I did there? That's one of my book titles. All right. A great hat. Oh, thank you. This hat's actually called the Seattle Sombrero, and it's waterproof because you never know it's going to rain up here on the island. Ooh, Cole Spencer, you nailed it. How often per week should you do intermittent fasting? You guys, if you have an answer for that, say what you think in the comments. But I will tell you that I've ran into so many people say, oh, I feel good. I'm never going to have breakfast again. It's that same old thing. Stop being absolutist. The best thing I would say for most people is about 5 times a week. It's okay to have breakfast on the weekend or something. And if you're, say, getting ready to menstruate, you might want to lay off the intermittent fasting, but you might do really well the rest of the time. So are you jet lagged? Are you really tired? Have some breakfast already. It's going to be okay. But the rest of the time, you don't want to do it. God, there's so many raspberries here. This is nuts. It's more than I could pick, especially given I'm supposed to be on another phone call. And speaking of supposing to be on another phone call, I would love to wish you guys an awesome, happy day. I hope you are in a place where you can at least get some of the raspberries that I just picked or something like that, and you can get some sunshine. And if you're indoors, because that's what your government is telling you is the right thing for you to do, open a window or enjoy some of that greenery. Just stare at that for a minute. I'm wishing you the very, very best. Get some sun if you can, touch the earth, smell some nature, be yourself, and be nice to other people, even if they're not nice to you. It's worth it. Have a great day.